Hey Flutes! My name is Miss Harper, the band director at Webb Middle School, and this video is to show you what you can do to keep your flute nice and clean, okay? First thing I want to talk about is how important it is to keep your flute dry, all right? Some instruments, you might find out soon, they use different types of cleaners and water and oils and cork grease and stuff like that, but on flute, we don't use any of that. Okay, flute has to stay dry. The reason for that is, if you look on your flute underneath, okay, underneath all the keys, there's little bitty pads underneath the keys. And you never want to get those wet, okay? If those pads get wet, they're gonna swell up and they're gonna fall off. And then you have to get your flute re-padded and it's expensive and you don't want to do that. So, just make sure you always keep your flute dry, all right? Don't ever put anything on your flute. All right, so first thing you're going to do to clean your flute is to get a polishing cloth. Now there are lots of different types of polishing cloths. Music and Arts and Williamson Music, Brook Mays, places like that sell basic polishing cloths, microfiber cloths, which are really great. If you want to get one that's really cool, also smells good, it's from Carolyn Nussbaum Music Company. Carolyn Nussbaum is a flute store, okay, and they have everything specialized for you, and it's pretty close by to where you live, and it's just kind of a cool place to go if you want to go there. But mine is a anti-tarnish suede polishing cloth, and I found of all the ones I've ever used that this is my favorite kind, but any microfiber cloth will do just fine. Okay, some of you might have a cloth where it's maybe gray on the outside and white on the inside, and you can use the white part to polish your whole flute, little details, and the gray part too, polish the whole flute. Sometimes the white part on the inside is treated for anti-tarnish, okay? So, polishing cloth. What you want to do is lightly wipe the outside of your flute and get off any fingerprints or dirt or oil. The big thing, big concern you want to look out for is when you're polishing the keys, okay? You want to be very, very gentle when you're polishing the keys. Make sure you try to get in between the keys when you're polishing as much as you can, because sometimes dirt and dust will collect in underneath the keys. So try to get as much of the metal as you can without bending the keys or breaking the keys. You want to make sure that when you're cleaning underneath, like in these bars, okay, you'll see little springs on hooks. Make sure you don't accidentally bump one of those springs out of place. And if you do, you can use a pencil, like the eraser side of the pencil, and kind of press the spring back underneath the hook to keep that in place. Anyway, so polish, keep it nice and shiny. Sometimes I'll just lay the whole cloth over the keys and kind of rub all the keys, because that's usually where it tends to get kind of oily or dirty, and then it'll be nice and clean. Okay, polishing cloth. Next thing, after you're done playing, okay, that's when you really want to do the deep cleaning of your flute. So the first thing is to disassemble your flute carefully, okay, piece by piece. Take your flute apart, and first thing I do is I take my head joint, okay, and when you play, you naturally create condensation on the inside of your flute, okay? If you look inside, you'll probably see a bunch of little water droplets. That's just condensation from you blowing warm air onto a cold flute. Okay, so the first thing you want to do to clean this is take this out of your flute case. This is called a tuning rod, okay, a tuning rod. And sometimes they're made of metal, and sometimes they're made of wood, okay? You're definitely going to want to get a silk swab. They come in all different colors, but it needs to be silk, okay? Lots of different stores sell different types of cleaning cloths for the inside, but you want to make sure you get a silk swab, all right, for the flute. What I do is I thread the eye of the tuning rod just a little bit, okay, about that much, you can see, and then I take the bigger side and I kind of twist and wrap it around the top a little bit, so you have a little cushion of silk at the top, and then clean out the inside of your flute. I twist, okay, take out, readjust the top, twist, get out all the condensation. You may need to look in. If you see any other condensation or any water, you can do it one more time, but usually 2 or 3 times is good to get all the water out, okay? Then you're going to do the same thing on the other parts of your flute. I always run through twice, wrap this over the top, and the reason I wrap that over the top is to keep from scratching my flute on the inside. All right, twice through here, one, out the other end, and then I just get in the habit of like kind of resetting the fabric so it gets on a drier spot. Twist while you push in, twist, and out the other side. Check the inside to make sure it's dry. If it's still wet, you can keep going until it's dry. And then same thing for the foot joint. Usually on the foot joint, not a lot of condensation down there. I might just even go one time, make sure it's dry, and you're done, okay? All right, so that's the tuning rod and the silk swab to keep it nice and clean on the inside of your flute. The reason you do that is because, again, you want to keep your flute dry. If your flute gets wet, it's going to get moldy and gross and nasty, and you don't want that. Keep your flute dry, all right? Now, since everybody is concerned with everything staying clean right now, an extra step you might want to talk about is, let's say you have been sick, or you have a cough or whatever, and you want to just be extra sure that your flute is super clean. One thing you can do, this is sold at Music and Arts or Williamson Music, it's called Mighty Mist, okay? It smells like Listerine or like a mint scent, okay? And we usually have this in the band hall all the time, cleaning mouthpieces. And what you can do on flute, not on the keys, okay, but just on the head joint, you can give it a couple sprays like that, and you can use your polishing cloth just to kind of dry off the outside. And then also, it really does deep clean your lip plate so that when you play it feels nice and fresh, you get a good grip on your lip too, and it smells fresh like mint, okay? So there's an extra step. Normally we don't talk about that, but for extra safety. And then the last thing is you want to make sure that you always keep your flute in air conditioning, okay? You never ever want to leave your flute in a car. You want to make sure it's never out in the hot sun or out in the cold either. Make sure it's always in regular air conditioning so that it stays nice and clean. All right, if you guys have any questions, you can email me at jlharper@garlandisd.net. Thanks guys, take care.